Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Private Eyes. I'm Bari.
And I'm Jen.
And today we're going to be talking about something fun. We're going to be talking about the one thing everybody wants to know, our disguises. And I don't know why. I have a problem with the word disguises because disguises conjures up to me a costume. Like I'm going to dress up like a clown or, like
or like a banana.
like you're doing surveillance in a food store,
The funny thing is they always think that we dress up like these ninjas.
Right,
like, what
right,
do you think?
right.
We're
No
not.
trench coats.
No.
Sometimes I wear all black, but just because I like to, but
Yeah.
not for any other reason other than
Exactly.
that. So today we're going to talk about like the disguises, and I like to refer to them more as like a get up. I mean,
Right.
there's a bunch of different ways we use clothes, props, things to change up our look to become. Really, we're chameleons. We have to blend in. We don't want to stand out. We
Right.
want to blend in seamlessly and be able to follow our subject with whatever they're doing.
Right.
It is so important to this job to be able to do that, to do a quick change on the fly,
Change your look.
change your look, whatever it may be, to keep the case going. Because somebody might go to a bunch of stores, and I don't want to like get video for a client and be like, oh yeah, we only went to 2 stores because I was afraid she was going to know it was me. We're not afraid of that. Half the battle is kind of like getting out of your own head and feeling like, I belong here. Let me look like it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you have to do.
Yes.
So I'll never forget. It's so important to be prepared. When I first started in this job, and I trained you really based on this experience, I had been working I was just getting my feet wet in this business. I was working for Jim, my old boss. You know about Jim. And I love him. He gave me my first shot. So, but being a woman in this business has sometimes its downsides.
Yeah.
So I went on, I did this surveillance. I was doing this about a year at this point. We're in the summer. And I'm following this girl and her friends, and they go to the beach. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. They're going to go to the beach. Like, what other job can you're getting paid to literally get your tan on. You're going to the beach. And I'm like, I do not have a bathing suit. Was not prepared. Didn't care if I didn't have a chair or a towel, but I wanted a bathing suit. I just needed to be on the beach with them as close as possible. I could not be wearing jeans. I think I was like wearing jeans that day. I'm not a big shorts person.
Oh, no.
I was literally wearing jeans. So they have all their beach stuff. I know they're ultimately going to go to the beach.
Right.
But first they go into there was like a diner on the beach, like on the boardwalk area. And they all go in. It was a group of them. They sit down at a booth. I'm like, awesome. I have time. There was a surf shop down the street. Surf shop. Surf shop down the street. I run with like all my might. Because I did not want them to leave. I just wanted to get this done in time. I'm like, I got to find a bathing suit. So I go in and I'm like trying on bathing suits and I'm in the fitting room and I'm like huffing and puffing. I'm like, Barry, it doesn't have to look good. Just get a freaking bathing suit so you fit in. But I'm like, no, I still have to look good. So I end up settling on this bathing suit. I buy the bathing suit. It was like cheap. It was maybe it was like $25 or something. And I'm like making my way back and I'm running down the boardwalk and I'm like, please be there. Please still be there. Please still be there. Please still be there.
Worst feeling
the worst feeling in the
ever.
world. That's why you have to be prepared. You should not have to leave your mark.
Yeah.
Do not leave your subject.
No.
I mean, I probably could have gotten lucky and found her beach, but I did not want to lose the whole first 2 hours looking for her.
It's so hard.
It's really hard. And I didn't want my day to be done over a bathing suit. So I get back. They're still eating. They didn't even pay the bill yet. I was fast.
Thank God.
So I called Jim and I'm thinking about this. I'm like, you know what? Like, this should be like a job expense because like I had to buy this bathing suit to get the video that I need to get up close and whatever. And I called Jim and I'm like, oh, Jim, it's going to be a good day there at the beach. And like, I was like, but I didn't have a bathing suit. Like I went and bought one. And do you think I can expense this? Could this be like on the expense sheet? And he was like, if you send me a picture of you wearing it, I was like, nope, that's okay. I was like, nope, that's fine. I'll pay for it myself. No worries at all. I could use a new bathing suit. So
he went there.
Yeah, he went there. So there's a lot of stories like that. But that one, I knew from that moment, like the importance of being prepared and just having all of your stuff together. And I feel like I trained you really well in that, to be prepared. You were extra. You were like extra prepared all the time.
I'm just extra. And, preparation is the biggest part of victory.
Mm-hmm. Was there a job that you were not prepared?
Oh, yes. So I followed this female one day and she goes to this huge Renaissance fair. Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you ever gone to a Renaissance fair?
I can say proudly I have not been to a Renaissance fair, although the food looks good.
Yeah, they were
Don't they
eating
have
like
drumsticks and like
big mugs
fried
of beer
things? Yeah,
and
yeah,
lots
yeah,
of
yeah.
fried foods. And, I'm looking around and people are wearing these like horns. The girls have like flowers wrapped around their head and they're wearing dresses, and the guys are in these like get up costumes from like the Renaissance years.
People take it serious.
They
It's a
take
lot
it
of
so
effort.
serious. And you know what? I didn't have a sword in my car. And
Why didn't you have a sword?
That's the one thing I didn't have is a sword. Now I got a sword. No, I don't have a sword. But, I'm like, what can I, do? So I'm like looking around and I saw a lot of military people. And it just so happened that where the Renaissance Fair was right near a military base. So that I could pull off. I had some.
So you were prepared. You got lucky.
I figure it out. I know how to get past those gatekeepers and figure it out. So I put on some camo clothes, and even when I was pulling up, the parking attendant said, "Oh, nope, you're military. You get to park for free." I'm like, okay. And when I was walking in, they're like, "Oh, you're military. You get in for free." And there I am, dressed like G.I. Joe, following these two people around, and they are buying those turkey legs and buying all this jewelry, and then they're sitting there and we're watching this show of these guys shooting each other and this whole reenactment, and they're capturing someone, and you got it's almost like pirates.
I was gonna say, is it piratey?
It's not piratey, but it's like the Renaissance times, like they're like fighting over a war or something.
Or a woman.
Yeah, it's always a woman. So it was so different. And, the day was successful, and it was
That's something
fun.
you really can't plan for.
No.
You really can't. And you were creative. And that's part of it. It's just the creativity has to flow from somewhere. And if you can't be a Renaissance queen, you be a military man.
Whatever it is, and I remember calling you, and you're like, "Get me some horns," and I'm like, "Damn,
I wanted a sword.
They didn't sell
right?
swords.
They didn't sell swords.
They weren't allowed
Different
to sell
times.
swords.
It's different times now.
Different times. You're not allowed to sell swords. But I'm like, why?
Distinctly said I wanted a sword.
You did want a sword. I owe you a sword.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get you a sword.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So there are sometimes you're not prepared, but you make it work.
So it really is. I mean, and that's just, your story is a perfect example, as was mine, that just being prepared for your job so that you can fit in. So give me some examples, like some of the stuff that you do have in the car, because it is so important to get the job done. Like, it's like practically having a closet in there. You have a closet.
Yes. So sometimes when I'm home trying to get dressed to go out, I'm like, where the heck are my jeans? Yeah, everything's in my trunk.
Me too.
So I am like getting ready to go out with my wife, and I'm like getting dressed, and she's like, why are you making 4 trips to the car? I'm like, because all my clothes are in the trunk, But yeah, so I always have, depending on the season, so like say it's summertime, I'm having obviously like a beach chair, a blanket, a towel. I'm having multiple bathing suits, different colored tank tops. If it's wintertime, different color sweatshirts, sunglasses, regular eyeglasses, different colors, different shapes.
Different
hats,
shoes, everything.
Different shoes.
Everything. Because you'd be surprised, like, what people know. People are very unaware, and that's the weirdest thing. They'll trip them up. Like, you want to stay away from things like that are very distinct looking. You just want to blend in. Plain old flip-flops, nothing with a crazy, like, design on it. They'll be like, oh, I've seen them flip-flops before. Or if you want to wear that crazy design, make sure you have another pair with you to change into. And they'll be like, oh, well, I thought that might have been the same person, but they were wearing crazy flip-flops. Oh, it ain't the same person.
Right.
You'd be
like,
surprised.
It's like you don't want to wear something. I'm not going to wear a fluorescent orange sweatshirt with a logo on the front. It's like so catching that they're going to recognize that, you know?
I think people have this misconception that they think like you totally have to look different for somebody not to recognize you. And that is just not the case. People are really unaware. They're not fully aware of their surroundings, and just changing it up a little makes a difference.
Well, it is. I mean, I remember one of my first cases here when I started with you, I was following this guy for 3 days straight, and I said, Barry, how does this guy not know I'm following him? So it's like, it is natural for people to see you. they'll look at you, but if they like double take, okay, then, maybe you got to change it up a little bit more. But for the most part, the first time I follow someone in, I'm just myself, whatever I dressed that day. Then if they go to another place, now I'm changing my shirt. I'll put a hat on and go around my business. They don't even look. Then they go to another store. I mean, I've followed one woman one day, and she went to like 6 different stores. And I'll tell you what, I just had a blast because I'm very neat and organized in my car. But by the end of the day, it's like completely trashed. It's got every color shirt, hat, bandana,
sounds
sunglasses.
like my bedroom.
Yeah.
So,
it's quick. Those are the things I always have.
What about that time our investigator didn't even recognize you? So this is like a perfect example of something like that. Like literally was just in the car with you.
So I was on a job with another investigator, and we were following this guy, and he happened to go into an inner city, and there was no place for me to park. He found a good parking spot, so I kicked the other investigator out, and I said, hey, get out, follow him. I got to find parking. So while I was parking, it was hot. It was the summer. I was in jeans and like a t-shirt, and I was sweating. So I said, you know what? I'm going to change my look. So I went in my trunk, and I'm like, okay, what's today? What am I going to be today? Who am I going to be today? So I put on a pair of board shorts. They were black and white board shorts. I put on a black tank top and a black bucket hat, and I put it low. And I like covered just low enough that I just kind of covered my eyes a little. And I sprinted out next to the girl, and I stood right next to her like this. And she was giving me the eye,
this guy over here.
Who is this?
She's like, who is that guy?
Yeah, basically. And she was like, oh! And I go, it's me. And she did not even recognize me. Like, to this day, she still talks about, I can't believe I didn't recognize you. And it literally was just changing my outfit that she didn't know.
Right. And it's all just basic stuff.
It's basic.
Basic stuff. You're running in, you're running out, you're putting on a hat, you're putting on a whatever. So, talking about changing up the looks, whatever, you're on the fly. We're moving really quickly. We're not like putting on a whole disguise. We're just changing hats, maybe putting on a pair of glasses, changing your shirt, so on and so forth. But there are times where you have to get creative. What was your most creative disguise, would you say?
Sometimes you have to be creative on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing I'm really good at is getting past those gatekeepers. Sometimes I don't know where I pull this stuff out of my head, the things I say to people, and I
don't know either. It's scary.
I know. I just get in. And so I was following this guy, and he happened to be a landscaper. He was in the backyard of this very gorgeous house, okay? It was under construction. There was tons of people working on the house. The landscapers were deep in the back. I'm in the surveillance vehicle. I can't see nothing back there. So I'm like, oh God, what do I have? What do I have? Well, I had a tape measure. I don't know why I had a tape measure in my car. I happened to have a clipboard. I had my construction helmet and a vest. So I walked up to the property with all of it on. I tucked it. I had the measuring tape hanging off my pants. I walked back there, and some guy comes up to me. He goes, hi, how you doing? My name's Mike. I'm the general manager here. And I said, hey, Mike, how you doing? I said, listen, the owner called me, and he wants me to measure the windows. He goes, yeah, he didn't want to get new windows. I said, I know. He happened to call me, and I'm a little early. My engineer's on the way. So do you mind if I just walk around and hang out while I'm waiting for him? And I said, I'm just going to start some measurements. Oh, yeah, sure. So I'm in the backyard. I'm measuring the windows. And I'm in this getup that I just whipped up. And I see my guy, and he's back there. He's cutting lawns. And I was able to get my shots, and everything worked out great. So
Let me see this getup. You got this getup?
Oh, yes, actually. I just happen to have like this construction vest.
Why do you have that?
And this helmet. I don't know. I was just asking around what people
Like, the
had.
best is that Jen gets this job. She didn't even buy this shit for the job. Like, I had to buy a bathing suit. Jen, I have that. I have a construction hat and a vest.
I just whipped it up. I said, so I looked more professional than the people on the job. So, it's just being creative. And I really thought this was a creative one because I was like, where the heck am I coming up and going to get this guy? But, it worked out. So I got him.
Yeah,
and everything was good.
It was fine.
The client was happy. So
I think my most creative is actually not a disguise that you would put on, not like a getup, but like props. And props are like critical to this job, whether it's a chair, whatever. So I had this job, and we had been doing it for a couple of days during the day, doing surveillance right along the Hudson River. And there's a bunch of really nice apartment complexes over there on the Jersey side. And we had done it during the day, and I needed to be there very late at night. I mean, they wanted me there from like 7 p.m. until like 3 a.m. in the morning. And I did notice from one of the days I was there that they had a dog park. And I'm like racking my brain all day. I remember getting ready for the job. I had to leave, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, to sit here for like all these hours? Somebody's going to call the cops on me. They'll be like, this girl's wandering around. Like, I didn't know what to do. So one thing led to another. And I, of course, has to do with like buying something. I'm walking past this pharmacy as I'm getting ready. It's getting some stuff, some like food items for the job. And I see like this dog in the window, and it looked so real. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this dog, and I really thought about like, I should probably bring a real dog. And then like, my dog is not going to behave. She's horrible. She'd be like complaining, like worse than bringing my kid with me. So I said, I'm going to buy like this fake dog. It looks real. And I said, it's going to be from a distance. Like, anybody who's like really looking at me is like, they're just going to walk by. And if anybody's like in the dog park, they might be like, I had a plan. And my plan was to just have the dog sitting next to me. It didn't need to move or anything. And then if anybody said like, what are you doing? It gave me a weird look. I would just be like, my dog died. And I'm just like, a therapist told me this is part of the like, to help me get through the grieving process, to get a dog to look similar and, go to the park they used to go to. And that's what I'm doing. And, people would run away when you start talking like
they would say, that lady's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't even
this
go
lady's
near.
nuts. So I like always took it a step further, and I wanted the dog to look real. So I got it a harness. It was like a pet store. I stopped there. I got the dog a harness, and the dog was like legit.
What? You have the dog with
I
you?
have my dog with me.
And what was the dog's name?
Oh, Fluffy, but
Fluffy.
looking a little mangy now.
Well, that kind of looks like most white dogs
she needs to be groomed, but it's okay. So I've had her for a long time now, but my most creative was definitely a prop.
Oh, that's so cool.
A prop.
Props do work.
Props are the best. So
that's so funny. I can totally picture you out there with the dog.
I did. I used the dog.
Petting it.
Yes, I was petting it. I didn't walk it. That looked weird.
That would have been weird.
It's too obvious.
And when people walked by, you could have gone.
So, all right. So let's talk about our cases and, disguises and keeping it in the vein of like, the infidelity cases that we work on. And there's so many times where people are like, do you like use a wig? Do you do this, do that? And I'm like, honestly, no. A lot of the times I don't. I'm just sitting in a car. So I got a call one day from a neighbor of mine. And I knew them. I lived across the street from them for a couple of years. Knew them in passing, hi, bye, but like not friends or anything to that extent. And she called me. And so over the weekend, there was like an article that I did for a local paper. And she calls me up and she's like, oh, Barry, I had no idea that you were a private investigator. I was, I saw that article. And she's like, I was like, yeah. She's like, I really need help. And this was like when I first started the business. Wasn't even doing it a year yet.
I've never even heard this.
So wait, it's good. So she says to me, my husband, so-and-so, I'm not gonna say the names, but my husband, so-and-so, we were having problems. She's like, I don't know if you noticed. Oh, wait, that was the funny thing. She's like, I don't know if you noticed, but, his car hasn't been there. And I'm thinking, like, I was just saying to Julian the other day, like, something's going on across the street because I ain't seen his car there for a long time. So she ends up calling me. She's like, so of course I was right. And so he wasn't staying there. He was only there on the weekends. They had 3 kids. And she divulged to me that he had had some infidelities in the past.
Okay.
She let it go. They were working on it. Had another kid, and she says to me, he's out of the house. He said he's staying with a friend. She's like, I'm done. He said it's more convenient to stay in the city, at my friend Joe's house than coming back and forth. And she's like, I know that he's living with a girl. But she's like, and it doesn't really matter. I'm going to get a divorce anyway. I've made up my mind. This is not going to work. And but I just want to know. I just want to be certain. I said, I get it. I know I like to be right too. So I said to her, I said, so what are you looking to do? She's like, well, this weekend he's going to be here. And he's going to go to the city. He's going to take the ferry into the city. And she's like, I really would like you to follow him. And I'm like, he knows me. She's like, I think you can do it. She's like, I really, really want you to do it. I don't want to ask somebody else. I really want you to do it. And I was like, oh God. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I had a male partner at the time. I'm like, I'm calling the guy and I'm like, you're not gonna believe this. I have this job that I have to do. And it's
Right.
my neighbor. Like they know me. God. And I'm like, but it's all right. We'll do it together. We'll switch off. We'll go on and off, whatever. And you need two people for a job like that, honestly, because we, different modes of transportation.
Right.
So I agree to do it. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, this is not a good idea. If he knows that it's you, it's going to be really awkward. I'm like, I know. I don't know. I said, I want to do it because I get like crazy. I'm like, I have to see if I could do this. Can I pull this off? So we start the surveillance. He's at home. We follow him by car to the ferry. Sure enough, gets on the ferry. We get on the ferry with him. And so I'm wearing a baseball hat, keeping my head down, sunglasses, baseball hat, sweatshirt, whatever. On the ferry, get off the ferry. Now we're following on foot. We're in the city, and he walks to this brownstone, and he goes inside. Now, either two things are going to happen. We're not going to see him again.
Right.
And we don't know if, he's with a girl or not, or they might come out. So my idea, my disguise was I was just going to wear a wig and glasses, like a totally different wig, blonde wig. I have dark hair. And like we were saying before, people are not as aware as you think. So I go into this little bodega on the corner. I'm like, to my partner, I'm like, you wait here, see if he comes out. I change. It was like a movie. Like you go into the bathroom and you come out like somebody else. And like exactly what happened.
Like
I put
Superman.
Yes, I put on my wig. I come out with blonde wig, glasses. Looking like a totally different person, different shirt. So we're standing in the corner, literally like 5 minutes after I don't know why it always works this way.
Oh,
5 minutes after coming out of there, door opens, he comes out with a woman. They walk a couple blocks, we're following them, and they go to this little tiny restaurant. And like in the city, if you're familiar with the city, like you're literally like this close to the people dining next to you. There's no other tables in there. The one right next, they sit me right next to him. So I'm sitting right next to him. Partners across the way, and literally put my camera on the table. I start filming him. He has no idea it's me. I'm not making eye contact, and I'm just filming away. And he's feeding her. He's like talking shit about my neighbor, like their relationship, and I am like hearing everything, just like getting all the goods. Oh my
God!
So I couldn't believe, like he had no idea. And to this day, I don't think he has any idea.
Yeah, because he was so focused on her.
Yeah, totally focused. And that's it. People are focused on other things. They're like not that aware of their surroundings, surprisingly. And look, if he really examined me, maybe he would have known. But like you just see, an image of a blonde next to you, and he knew I wasn't blonde, and he had no idea. No idea he was being fouled in the first place.
That is great.
Yeah.
That would have been really awkward if he did catch you.
Yeah, that's happened before.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that in later episodes, getting caught.
So what, case did you have to, use a proper, plan to use, not on the fly? This is, we're talking about cases that we know we have to plan, and we have to be able to get what we need to get, and we cannot trip it up.
Well, recently there was a case where the guy, he called up and he wanted us to follow his ex-girlfriend. Mm-hmm. He was madly in love with her, and he was so heartbroken. She had broken up with him. He wanted to propose to her. I think he even did propose to her. She might have said no. He wanted to see what's up. Yeah. He was like, oh, there's got to be someone. There's got to be someone.
Can't possibly be you. It must be someone else.
Yeah, right.
One of those things.
Maybe she don't like you, buddy. Yeah, she'd been there. She'd done that.
But it doesn't matter. We're not our job.
But he wants to do this. So okay. So find out a little bit more info about this woman, and it just so happens that she teaches salsa dancing.
Yeah, we did a lot of research on
Yeah,
her
we
and
did a
found,
lot.
like, social
So,
media pages.
yeah,
And
so now she is teaching a salsa lesson class at a restaurant in Manhattan. So I said, yeah, I'll go, especially when I'm going to eat. Yeah, let's go. So I said, you said to me, you should bring someone with you. And I'm like, I don't have anybody. Everybody always says, oh, I want to go with you. I want to go with
and
you.
then when you need them, they're like, nope.
Nope. So
Everybody says,
everybody,
can you take me on your next job?
Yeah. And then you call them and no one, so I called my aunt Roxanne, and she was like, yeah, I'm all in. I'll go. So I'm all right. And we do a little research, and I'm like, the only thing I can really think of is I can't dance. No, if you know me, I love to dance. I can dance. Well, I think I could dance. I just have fun. But at this moment, I can't dance because I need to keep my eyes focused on this woman. Is there a guy or a girl that's in the class that she's interested in, or is somebody walking through the door? So I can't be salsa dancing or whatever, how it goes.
Right, you got to stay focused.
Yeah.
But you don't want to talk to her anyway. You don't want to be that close to her.
No. So I bring a cane with me. And I figured if she comes up to me, she's going to, as soon as she sees me, she's probably going to go around the room.
You're very intriguing.
Yeah, you know how it is.
You attract people.
I do. I always do. And attract weirdos. But she was actually really nice. And, I was like, what can I bring? So I brought the cane. And,
I love that it's leopard.
It is. It's a leopard cane. My fancy side. So I said to Aunt Roxanne, here's the plan. We're going to go in. We're going to use fake names. And I said, I'm Jackie. And she goes, okay. And I'll be Bobby. I said, okay. And we sit down, we order food, and we get some tacos, margaritas, and, we start eating, having a good time. And I tell her, if she comes over here, I have to run to the bathroom. I don't see anybody yet. She didn't start. She's just setting things up. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. And, just, you remember the plan, right? You remember the plan? Yeah. She's like, I got it. I come out of the bathroom and she's talking to the girl.
The subject, the person you're watching.
Yes. She's talking to her. And I just have my head down and I'm like, oh my God, she's going to come over to talk to me next. And I kind of have to act a little, so I kind of put my head down and I kind of acted a little grumpy because I didn't really want to have too much talk with her. Mm-hmm. So she came over and she's like, and what about you? You want to dance? And I said, no. I lifted up my thing and I said, no, I can't. I have a bad back. She said, okay. I said, I'd love to watch you though, So yeah. So the cane, literally the cane worked. So she walks away, and do you know, I said to Aunt Roxanne, did you use the thing? She said, oh my God, I got so nervous. You went to the bathroom, and I forgot everything. I told her my real name. She pulled up my Facebook page. She was like making me follow her, and I'm like, oh my God.
Unfollow
her right now. So at the end of the day, the props worked.
Yeah, the props work.
She was dancing, having a good time with all her little following.
So tell me, so what happened though? Didn't like a guy come in or something?
A guy came in.
Yeah.
And he came in like probably maybe the last like 20 minutes when she's wrapping up. And I see this like handsome little guy come in and he sits down and he's just sitting there. He doesn't order a drink. He doesn't do anything. He's just smiling and I'm watching his eyes and he's following her around. Yeah. And, by the end of the night when she's done, she went over, talked to him. I hung out the corner and I captured the kiss. And it worked.
There was another guy.
Yeah. There was another guy. So sorry, client. She really did not like you. But so I don't need my cane anymore today. So we'll just drop that there. But you have to be creative.
Yeah, it's about being creative, not so much a disguise.
It's not putting on that banana suit.
How you work it. No banana
into
suits.
The fruit market.
No clown suits, no banana suits, no, and not even always a wig. Sometimes it's just, changing up your look. Being a chameleon is what it is.
Yes.
And blending in. Don't want to stand out. Blending in.
Blend in.
So I think it's time for email of the week. So, and thank you for everybody who sent emails in, because these are...
We got a lot.
We did. And this is a good one. And I like this one because we get a lot of calls about this. I'll read it to you. It says, I believe my husband is having an affair. I have a phone number that I believe belongs to the woman, and I'm wondering if I can get information on who it belongs to. Also, I believe he has a secret text phone app he's using to communicate with her. Can any information be found looking up his phone number and email address? Thank you. So this is like a two-parter here. So let me start with the first part with the phone number. Is that something we can help her with? Absolutely.
Yes.
So a lot of times people will call us and they find a phone number, whether they had a copy of a phone bill or something, or maybe they saw their phone log and this number keeps reoccurring and they want to know who it belongs to.
Right.
So to be perfectly honest, I mean, we have access to a lot of databases, phone registration information, like things that the general public do not have access to.
Right.
But Google is your best friend. So oftentimes I'll just start like with Google. I'll start there and see like what kind of hit see what kind of hit I get. Run it through social media sites, and then I pull out the big guns and we use our real we use our databases, whatever, and we get that information. But we do have we don't give them all of the information, but we'll confirm their suspicions whether or not it's the girl or guy that they think it is. So if you run into the situation at home, Google something, it sounds so simple. You'd be surprised how many people, like, I'll be like, did they even like try to Google it? Because I got this number and then it comes right up. And then of course I verify and it turns out Google sometimes does have all of the right information.
Oh, you can find addresses, phone numbers.
Right. But when people are being shady, they'll use like a burner phone. Yeah. And that's when we come in. And sometimes our resources are able to help us with that. We're able to figure out what number it is. Other times we have to do some good old detective work, and that might be using one of our burner phones to make a call to that phone and putting on a little acting skills to get people to give us information.
I love
you'd be surprised how many times that works.
It's just so amazing, Bari, that you will call up and ask people questions. They'll give you answers.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't.
Like, I'm literally calling them and, coming up with something. And I'm like, hey, what's your address? And they'll give it to me. They literally have given it to me. So, it's like unreal.
So in terms of phone numbers, you could try to do it yourself. You can get to a certain point. You might be lucky. You might even want to make that secret call, but, get yourself a burner phone and make those calls yourself. Or you can call us and we can get it for you.
Yes, we can.
But it's helpful to know how to do these things yourself. Lastly, she asks about this text app on his phone, using an email address, etc., phone number. Doesn't happen. Right. I'm glad she asked this too, because so many people call up and say, oh, can you tell me if like my husband's using this app and my boyfriend's using this app and my girlfriend's doing this? Can you see her text messages? We cannot do any of that stuff.
What? You can't look into your magic crystal ball?
No, my crystal ball does not have those answers. Oh. There's no way to do that. Can you put like spyware on the phone? No, you can. But you have to physically have the phone. Like they think like you could just like, send a code to it. And there are people that are in IT, ethical hackers that are able to do that stuff. We don't do that stuff. Yeah. So don't ask us. Either you got to have, if you have possession of the phone, we could certainly help you out. Right. But you got to know the password too. And most of the time that is not the case because people are keeping that stuff under wraps.
That's right.
So, but there should be, you know what? What? When you're married, there should be no secrets. No, in a relationship, there should be no secrets. So that should be tip off number one. If someone doesn't want you looking at their phone, I mean, unless you're just crazy all the time and you're constantly asking. Yes, it's a red flag. So that's the email of the week. And please keep sending us your emails. The questions are really great.
They're good. We want to hear from you guys. The more emails, the better.
We want to thank everybody so much for joining us today on Private Eyes. And we hope that you had as much fun as we did. We always have a good time. And we love hearing from you. So don't forget to send us your stories. Email us your stories, your questions. You have concerns, something maybe we can help you with. Jen, tell them what to do.
We want to hear from you. Send us your emails at theprivateeyespodcast@gmail.com.
And that's a wrap.